If you have specific questions or would like to further engage with the district, you may submit your questions using the link on the website, and the appropriate staff member will communicate with you. Our BPS 101 Communications Manager, Holly Deachman, will now explain the procedures for public comment and call up the speakers.
Thank you, President Meadows. You've been here before. You have 3 minutes. The timer is up on the screen for you. I'm sorry, this is Tracy Granis here with us this evening.
As I said last time, I'm not the best public speaker, so I apologize if I ramble. I just wanted to reiterate what I was here for last time. I do feel I got to meet with Mr. Kim, and I thought it was a great conversation, very productive. I hope to see some great things from that. However, I still, deep down, even though we had that conversation, I still have my concerns. Because again, my daughter came home today saying how there was physical violence in her classroom, and it was not addressed. So, not today, I'm sorry, yesterday. So I really want to keep hitting home on JB Nelson needs help. They need more assistance, and I don't know how else to go about that. I know I'm a sub, but not one sub can make that change. We need more. Or just more people to help out with the behaviors that are going on. But again, like I said, I just had a great conversation with Mr. Kim. But again, it's happening all the time. My daughter doesn't know who to go to there. She doesn't know who she can go to. She has no trust with anyone because nothing is helping the behaviors. So she's like, if I can't trust that so-and-so is not going to hit so-and-so, how can I go to that teacher and know that I feel safe? So I'm really pleading that if there's something we can do to look into this, I would really hope for that, because all these behaviors are going to affect these children the older they get, and they're only going to get bigger and harder to control, right? So that's pretty much my piece.
All right, thank you.
Record time. That's the end of public.
That's in, okay, thank you. Next is BPS Partners. Todd, the BEA. I know, fight your way there today.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. First off, I'd like to echo any and all expressions of thanks to our building custodians and maintenance and ground crew, led by Mark Anderson and his team with our trifecta of snow, cold, and ice days, and frozen pipes, water leaks, and insufficient heat at the high school, all just since returning from break. I know that they put in many hours, much before the beginning and ending of our school times these past few weeks, and the BEA could not do our job without our BESPA and our district staff counterparts, so please accept our heartfelt thanks for your time and efforts during these weather challenges. We also know that decisions made by Tom and the administration on whether to have school or cancel it and to move to e-learning or use emergency days will always be difficult ones to make, as inevitably there will be those who support one of the decisions that is made and also those who find fault with that same decision. I want to thank Tom for using his resources to carefully weigh all the factors that led to the decisions that have been made over the past couple of weeks. I know for sure that the safety of students and staff drove all decisions while adhering to the district philosophy of having a safe, warm, and dry learning environment for our students. With these 3 snow days now behind us, I hope we can all move on to spring very quickly. To keep you as a board in the loop, we will be having our second district coordinating council meeting next Tuesday. I know that this is not as a familiar committee to many of you as our established committees like CAC and PLAC and RAC, but DCC was negotiated in our last contract as a way for admin and BEA to oversee the functioning of our district committees and to ensure that our collaborative structures are not only working, but thriving. We have several topics on our agenda, but one that is quickly rising to the top of the discussion list is artificial intelligence, or AI. I know that this is not really the case, but AI in education has seemed to come virtually out of nowhere in the last couple of years and currently does have a prominent place in the mind of our educators, especially at the high school and middle school levels. In terms of this topic, I'd like to give you a few points to ponder as you continue to bring yourselves up to speed with the implications, both positive and negative, of AI in the classroom of the future. As we navigate these ever-evolving landscapes in education, it's imperative to acknowledge and address the challenges that educators face, particularly in the context of artificial intelligence. The integration of AI in education brings about both opportunity and obstacles that demand thoughtful consideration. Educators play a crucial role in shaping the future of our students, and as AI becomes more prevalent in our classrooms, it is essential to recognize and tackle the challenges associated with its implementation. Here are just a few key points for you to ponder as members of the board. Number one, professional development. With the integration of AI tools, educators need comprehensive and ongoing professional development programs. These programs should focus on enhancing their technological skills, an understanding of AI applications in education, and adapting teaching methods to effectively incorporate AI tools into the learning environment. Number two, resource allocation. And I know Tony's not here, but I think his spidey senses are tingling when I say that. Resource allocation means adequate resources, including funding for updating technology and AI tools, are necessary to ensure that educators have the tools they need to succeed. Proper allocation of resources will empower educators to leverage AI in ways that enhance the learning experience for our students. Three, ethical considerations. AI in education raises ethical questions that need careful examination. It is crucial to establish clear guidelines and policies regarding data privacy, potential bias, and the ethical use of AI tools in the classroom. Educators should be provided with training to navigate these ethical considerations responsibly. Four, student equity. AI has the potential to either accelerate or mitigate existing educational inequalities. It is essential to ensure that AI tools are accessible to all students, regardless of their socioeconomic background. The school board should work towards implementing policies that promote equity and inclusivity in the adoption of AI. Number five, collaboration with stakeholders. Engaging with educators, parents, students, and the broader community is vital in making informed decisions about the integration of AI in education. Creating channels for open communication and collaboration will foster a supportive environment for educators as they navigate the challenges that are posed by AI. I urge you all as school board members to proactively address these challenges and look towards creating a framework that maximizes the benefits of AI while minimizing potential pitfalls. By investing in the support and development of our educators, we can ensure that our students receive a well-rounded education that prepares them for the future. Now, if you haven't quite figured it out yet, that entire last section that I spoke about was generated by AI. It literally took a matter of 4 seconds for AI to create a succinct, example-laden list of excellent things to consider when navigating the uncharted world of AI in education. There is so much good that AI can do, but there are also obvious dangers of AI that will need to be addressed by using our stakeholder groups, crafting board policy, and continually gathering feedback on where we are as a district with our practices and policies while continuing to reevaluate and make necessary changes in the future. This is purely the tip of the proverbial iceberg when it comes to the next generation of technology in the classroom, and it is one that is imperative that we stay ahead of and not being run over by the AI bus. Like it or not, AI use is becoming more common and accessible to our students every day. Tom and I, as co-chairs of DCC, will be happy to speak to any of you about all the topics that we will be discussing at any of our meetings, so please don't ever hesitate to reach out and set up a time to speak with us both. So with that, I will just close by saying that I hope that Mother Nature has had her fun with us for this winter, and we can continue our school year with no more interruptions from her. Have a great rest of your night, and I will see you all back here in February.
Thanks, Todd. Next is Laura with BESPA. Welcome, Laura.
Good evening. As I do every month, I introduce to you a BESPA staff member. And if you look at our slide, this is our branch, as BESPA represents the branches of the educational tree. And tonight, I have the privilege of introducing Lori Steinis, who is the kindergarten enrichment instructor at Louise White. And we asked her a series of questions, and she wrote a story for me that I will read to you. The story of how I came to BPS is similar to many other support staff I've met. My kids attended school in the district, and after many years of being a stay-at-home mom, I was ready to re-enter the workforce, but wanted something flexible that still allowed me to spend summers with my kids and to be home with them after school. I have an undergraduate degree in advertising from the University of Illinois, but knew I did not want to return to my previous field. In 2014, when my youngest was in 4th grade, I decided to give subbing a try and was hooked immediately. During my 6 years of subbing, I found a passion for working with kindergartners. I made it known to anyone who would listen to me that I love subbing in kindergarten and was soon being requested by teachers across the district. I often popped into kindergarten classrooms when I had breaks in my schedule to offer an extra set of hands to help in any way that I could. I even expanded my subbing to the Geneva School District just so I had more opportunity to work with the kindergartners. In 2021, when the district adopted the kindergarten enrichment program as a complement to half-day kindergarten, I knew I found my perfect job. I applied and was thrilled to be hired by Louise White as the half-time instructor. This is my 3rd year in the position, and everyone who knows me knows that this is so much more than a job to me. I love getting to know each one of these little people and hearing their stories. I love watching them achieve things they didn't think they were capable of. I love seeing them grow throughout the year and supporting them every step of the way. I especially love finding fun and creative ways to help them learn, be creative, and build confidence. Probably the one thing that most people don't realize about my position is the kindergarten enrichment instructors spend a lot of time outside the classroom, thinking about, planning, and prepping materials for our students. I think there is a misconception that enrichment is just playtime or daycare. We are with our class for story time, literacy, math centers, crafts, and science lessons. We reinforce concepts that were taught by the kindergarten teacher, such as phonics skills, letter recognition, and math skills, with a variety of hands-on learning activities, a few worksheets, a lot of group discussions. Students also have an opportunity each day to play with a variety of different toys, building materials, craft supplies, puzzles, and dramatic play centers. If you've ever spent time with kindergarten age group, you know that their attention span is about 15 to 20 minutes. I think she's being very generous. And then they are ready to move on to something else. That is a lot of activities to plan and prep for 3 hours each day. By my calculations, almost 1,000 activities over the course of the school year, and I love every minute of it. When I'm not thinking of fun ideas to do in my classroom, I enjoy spending time with my family, traveling, reading, gardening, cooking, taking long walks, and dabbling in various crafts. I have 3 daughters, all who attended Batavia schools. My oldest is now a grad student studying speech-language pathology at Illinois State University. My middle daughter is a freshman at Iowa State University studying aerospace engineering. And my youngest is a junior at Batavia High School, where she plays tennis and is involved in many clubs and honor societies. If I could change one thing about my job, it would be that it wasn't going to be eliminated. The state of Illinois is mandating full-day kindergarten by the start of the 2027 school year. And from what I've been told by administration, Batavia's current half-day program plus enrichment doesn't satisfy the state's requirements. I'm heartbroken that I won't be able to continue working at my dream job, but am hopeful that I'll find an equally fulfilling position within the school district. Thank you, Lori. We really appreciate your hard work. Thank you.
Thank you. And as mentioned before, our student ambassadors are not here today. Well, whatever they were entertaining, board liaisons, are there any committee updates? Sue, do you have any?
I just want to echo one thing Todd said before everybody tunes out of the meeting to the end of the comments. I do want to give a big shout out to the maintenance workers. Well done. Just a great job. Todd said it all, but I figure if I comment at the end, people will.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So I just wanted to get that ahead of time.
Throw me a curveball, it's fine.
Beefy will meet on Thursday, but I did want to let people know that if they go to bataviafoundation.org, you can find information on all our scholarships that are available. There are, I'm not quite sure how many we have right now this year, 5, 6 in different categories, education, nursing, different things. You can talk to the counselors at the high school, but go to the website. The applications are due right before spring break. Fill them out, very simple process, and most of them for about $1,000. So do that. And also, February 1st is the deadline for Hall of Honor applications. So if you know of an alumni that you want to nominate, staff that you want to nominate, Amy's familiar with this, or a friend of Batavia. So fill it out, get that in before February 1st. So, and you can go to the Alumni Nations website, that's part of Batavia Foundation, and read all about our alumni highlight of the month, Amy Nelson. There you go.
Grants are due February 2nd, too.
Oh, teacher grants are due February 2nd. There you go. Thank you, Brad. I'm not involved on that side, so yeah, I'm sure I'll find out Thursday about that, but thank you.
Danielle, do you have any?
No committee has met since our last meeting. I haven't talked about Louise White, my liaison school. I just wanted to quickly say they had a board meeting last week, the week before, but, I've sat in on a few. I'm just so impressed, I was on our PTO board and volunteer for Storm. So, it's a lot of work, just like what we do here and whatnot, but I'm really impressed with how well they work with each other and Dr. Skomer. It's like, I just sit there and just like, wow, they get work done really well. And the other part of it is like, they're very aware of how to service their entire community, whether it is like a financial type of thing or just the timing of stuff. They do a lot of things on the weekends. They had like bingo, and they didn't just have one time slot, they had 2 different ones. And I mean, I know that's something little, but it's how you build your community, because not everyone's off of work at the same time, and it's just like natural for them. And it's something like those little things that really make a difference in the community. So I enjoy watching them kind of go to work. They have a lot of variety of things. They had like I don't know if it was like a shop where like the kids could, like a Christmas store, but they had like a bin, with free like gifts for people who maybe couldn't shop, didn't have the money to. And I think that's just really awesome to do. Just kind of remember like you have a wide variety of community. So I just kind of want to give them a shout out. They work hard and think about their entire community from what it seems.
Okay, thank you.
The insurance committee did meet on January 11th. I was unable to attend, but I sat down with Josh and he gave me a synopsis. So I'll read the notes, but the committee reviewed a report from the wellness screenings from the fall, and they just expressed a large number of the population expressed a desire to address health concerns like pre-diabetic symptoms and weight loss. So there'll be a communication going out to the members on how to address some of those issues. And then another topic was the committee is going to recommend a renewal of Modern Health. Modern Health is a new mental health resource. It's an online resource that we implemented last year. I was naive at the time. When I think of mental health, I think of going and sitting on a psychiatrist's couch, but actually the vast majority of people don't access it that way. So it's a new program. We're excited about it. We're going to give it another year, and then at that point, we'll be able to review if we think it's worthwhile to continue. So that's the synopsis of what it was.
The committee felt it was helpful, though.
Definitely think it was helpful, and it's just hard to judge. I mean, it's a tricky thing because obviously, like if everyone's in a good spot, we're not accessing it, so it's hard to judge if people are accessing it to the level that's needed. So
But as of right now, we think it's,
yes, because people are using it.
people are using it. Okay.
Raquel.
So the RAC had two meetings since our last board. The one in December, they had a guest speaker, Bob Lewis from PMA. He just talked about alternative funding sources. They gave a warm, safe, dry update. Board approved it on the 19th. And then they reviewed the financial forecast. And then in January's meeting, we had a small group discussions about the alternative funding sources. They reviewed the financial report, and then we kind of broke up into small groups and worked on this. We had some homework to do for these financial, we each have to take a section and kind of just give notices and review it and so forth.
Okay. Rob.
The curriculum committee met last week, and jokingly, I say I try to keep up with all the acronyms that go on. Try to focus in on that,
Be a
but
challenge.
on a serious note, they are talking some issues, and I heard the DCC, I know they're getting ready to send a proposal over there. The other interesting thing is, for me, I kind of listened to just the process a little bit, and see how they're doing, and I listened for some keywords. One of them was prioritization. They said that they wanted to create some more focus and prioritize the issues that they wanted to address, because it could be overwhelming, I think, was some of the sentiment with all the different things going on. The other point was they were talking about the curriculum week, which I understand is only 3 days, if I understood that correctly, but in the summer, and it was nice to hear about that because they were talking about how to increase engagement with the teachers, and then also how to make it more value add and make it a worthwhile session when they come to that meeting. So I guess more to come, but those were kind of the things that I got out of the last meeting.
I don't have any updates.
Okay.
My only update is I owe an appreciation to Raquel for covering for me at the last two meetings, I guess. I had I tried last time to have and thank you to Josh for trying to arrange an ability for me to listen in, but with the small groups, it was very hard to listen and pick up. So I appreciate you covering and working with me on that, Raquel. And then the only one is, I think at the last board meeting, we had a previous meeting for BIC, which if everybody's not aware, that's effectively like the Uber council of all the groups that work with Batavia, PTO, those groups. And as usual, I'm continually amazed at a couple of things, and what echoed with what you said, Danielle, was how well a lot of these organizations work within their community and respond directly to the needs of that community, and how diverse it is across Batavia School District as well, and how they meet those needs. And hearing others just talking about how one has been running like Winter Wonderland for 20-plus years, in some amazing events, and then other ones trying like, oh, I want to do that, how do you do that, and work through their trials and tribulations and celebrate their successes. So that meets quarterly, right, Tom, roughly?
Correct.
Yeah.
And we'll be meeting this Saturday.
Yeah, okay, thanks for the reminder. So, all right.
Craig, can I ask
Yeah.
one question before you move on? The meeting that you referenced,
DCC,
okay, more acronyms.
yeah.
I think I'd know them by now, but, do we have representation on that? No? Okay.
No.
But
I'll
you
think-
will keep us appraised of what's
Yeah.
going on?
Yeah.
Because what you talked about sounds important.
Yeah, that's kind of the way, and correct me if I'm wrong, that's kind of like this overarching group that's kind of making sure everybody's meeting
Right, yeah.
their requirements. If there's anything that needs to be some cross collaboration, they kind of feed up to that. So it's kind of like select members of every group.
No,
go up
and I
do
get
that.
it, and I know it was negotiated and everything. I was just curious, but I just want to make sure that we hear feedback. Thank you.
Great, anyone else? Anything else? Okay. All right, consent agenda. According to our board policy, we designate a portion of the agenda as a consent agenda for those items that do not usually require extensive discussion before board action. These items generally are routine, recurring, and can be grouped together for efficiency. Steve, is there anything you'd like to discuss?
Yes.
Surprise.
All right, here we go. 5.1. The approval of the December 19th, 2023 meeting minutes. 5.2 is our monthly personnel report. 5.3 is our monthly payroll and bills. 5.4 is the renewal of the contract for our mental health support service discussed. 5.5 is the acceptance of the annual comprehensive financial report for the fiscal year 2023. 5.6 is the curriculum approval, and 5.7 is the approval of the consent agenda.
Anyone have any questions? Otherwise, I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I just have one comment. This is a copy of the annual comprehensive financial report. It's 138 pages. We have a lot of talk about transparency, about how we do business. It's all right here. So if people are curious, it's available. It's a public document, so
Right there, just click
I would encourage people to, if they're curious about how we operate, this is a good starting spot.
The other thing I will say is that I've seen paperwork done by other districts and what the state kind of requires as that backs behind all of this. This is a amazingly way of putting the information together that's digestible. So it's amazing compared to what I've seen in other districts.
I will say it's come a long way,
There's a lot of hard work that goes into it now and has.
right? It-
Accurate?
And
Yeah.
it's easily readable.
Yeah.
Is that a good, understandable?
Digest it, yeah, you understand.
Not an accountant or a CFO in there.
So I did have some questions, and I know Tony's not here, but just for, as we were talking about transparency, I'll just ask them, and then I know that they'll get back to me later in the notes. So the first one was, as part of the, let me make sure I say it right. The invoice journal was, I was just curious, what do we, like LinkedIn, we have a bill for $9,934. I just didn't know if that was like promoting like our open positions, or like, because my LinkedIn's free, so I was just curious. I don't know what LinkedIn does with all the programs that they offer.
Part of the conversation we've had is trying to create a more new avenue to recruiting, using professional platforms, and entities have to pay. It's not a free account
Right.
For an official, like, business entity, so.
That's what I was just
Yeah.
making, like, that's, I'm
You
sure
got it.
that's what it was for. And then the other one was, safe and civil schools, was that for champs? Do we know? I mean, and it's
Yes.
okay, okay,
Yeah, CHAMPS training.
okay. And then then the next one was about just the mental health support, and I saw that in the report, it says that 18%, used it. And I don't remember, did they get like, how many sessions did they get for, like, they had so many sessions and then they had to pay? I was just curious if like that 18% used all their sessions allocated. That was just something. And then in this report, the ACFRF, in the special ed report section, when we have like the breakout, is our paraprofessionals in that one, or are they in like a different section?
They are included there. It's not necessarily, everything that was been filled, it was what was positioned for.
Okay. And then, I know acronyms, but I don't, what's the CTE programs?
Career and technical education.
Yep.
Thank you. And then what about the interscholastic programs? I just, that was just on there and I was like, what is that one?
You're at, like, athletic.
Athletics.
That's in athletic, okay,
Activities, all of those.
okay.
Yep.
Okay,
And I think you were, I saw you when you said, so the gifted and honors, those are not part of that particular fund.
okay, okay. And then on page 131, full-time equivalent employees page, is this what was actually filled, or is this what we have and open positions? Like let's, and I don't wanna pull it up, let's say it said we have 480 positions. Was that like the employees that we have, or is that maybe we only have 470 and 10 open? I guess that was just my, on the, I don't know if it's on this, so it's 131,
Yeah.
but I wanna make sure, I think on the presentation,
This, I believe, is our actual head count.
Yeah.
Okay,
This is our live head count.
okay, yeah.
And part of that, and I appreciate you raising this, there were just some general notes I was gonna share about our ACFR report. As you can see, Tony's not here tonight, so I thought, this was actually, you hit a page I wanted to highlight. If you recall earlier this school year in the fall, when Tony was reviewing preliminary budgets and preparing reports for the board to see and also publish to the public, this was one of the areas that he had covered, and this covers all of our positional history as well. If you take a look, there's a look back of almost 10 years. And actually, it is 10 years on this particular page. And so the look back history kind of pretty accurately, I would say accurately to the head count, delineates what our historical positions look like that we've employed. Reason why I wanted to bring this up is because in the strategic survey that was launched prior to winter break, there seems to be amongst the community and even within our internal stakeholders, some folks who still have a little bit of a misunderstanding about some historical positions. And the one that I saw that came up a little bit was in reference to just, there over the last 10 years has been an increase in administration.
Oh, yeah.
And it's actually been completely the opposite. And when I dug into it, the history I found is that right around the transition of the two previous superintendents, prior board, I don't think any of you were on that board, had issued a directive to Dr. Hitchens to take a look at carving back administrative positions, which she did. So if you take a look at the 9-year look back, which was all under Dr. Hitchens' time, the district did reduce 9 administrative positions. It went from 39 to 30 administrators. And I just wanted to make sure that whatever I could rectify for the public, I wanted to make that really clear, that administration has not been added.
That is, I was there, and that is, I think Brad and Steve, you know this, that's been a long-held fallacy. That, I hear that all the time,
Okay,
and we've told the public that
okay,
all the time.
yeah,
And we can
Good
show
to
them
know.
numbers. They still don't believe us.
okay.
I don't know what else.
And that's all right. I mean, so I just thought it'd be worth noting, right? So I appreciate
Maybe coming from
raising that.
you, and with fresh eyes. you
Yeah,
know.
I did a little bit of digging, and the team was very helpful.
Yeah.
We got all that historical
But
data. But
that's-
in this report, you're right, like, it's a really digestible format, right? Because you can see all the years lining up to each other and comparing. And then, one of the notable things, I do believe Tony highlighted this back in the fall, but the interest on investments actually came back a little bit stronger than even what he was predicting at the time. So, one of the things that we want to make you aware of is, it's higher than what we thought it would be, but at the same time, with what the board approved for our capital projects plan for the 5-year plan in December, those funds that were invested are going to be withdrawn for our capital projects. So when you see next year, you can anticipate we will not have nearly, if any, the amount of interest that the district has been able to gain from that, because we need to invest those into our buildings, capital projects. So that's a big thing. And then if you see any areas of surplus, part of that is because we have been trying to actively staff certain openings, and continue to keep those positions open, such as our classroom paraprofessionals. So there's earmarked funds for that, but that should hopefully help explain any of those things. And then if anyone's interested, page 63 and page 66 will give you IMRF and TRS 9-year lookbacks on some of the financial details. And I'm gonna give credit to Tony, as he likes to put it, the numbers tell a story. So, and Tony has a funny way of reading stories through the numbers, through the data, right? Which is great. So, and to Board Member Kilberg's point, the ACFA report is posted on our website, and if anyone is interested in finding it, all you have to do is go to the Business Department tab and then look under Financial Reports, and then you'll see there are actually, I believe, several years of reports lined up there with links. All right?
And then I just had one more. Summer school, and I don't remember, was summer school offered for all of our schools, or is it only a certain number?
We utilize Mid-Valley's ESY program for special education. We run an online teacher connected to student EL program in the summer, and then we run credit recovery at the high school. But we don't run a very big summer school program.
That was all I had. Thanks.
All right. The only thing I wanted to add is I noticed that for once in a while, the staff hiring is more than the other two sections. So there's, appreciate whatever efforts are bringing people in right now. So thank you, Steve, and others. All right.
Let's keep it going.
Yeah, no kidding. I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Moved by Sue, second by Aaron. Cindy, please lead us in a roll call vote.
Sliger,
Yes.
Mathis,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Filbert,
Yes.
Locke,
Yes.
Arlandu,
Yes.
Gonzalez Thomas.
Yes.
Thank you, motion passes. Reports. Tom, is there anything you'd like to share?
FOIAs for this month's board to review are presented. I don't know if there's any questions, but
Any questions?
No, I have none.
Okay. And treasurer reports? Did you already do that already?
So in discussing with Tony, there are no outliers that the board needs their attention drawn to in terms of there being other than just typical monthly business that the board is being presented with. If you do have any specific questions, please feel free to direct them my way and I'll make sure you get answers.
Great. Thank you. So any questions, send them to Tom. All right, so we have a couple items on for action today. So item 7.1 is approve purchase of the cybersecurity platform. And considering my office nearly got hacked twice over the holiday and successfully rebutted it, I'm interested in hearing this one. So Tom, you're leading this one, I understand?
Yes.
Okay.
So as been indicated in the memo to the board, this is an endpoint detection and response security platform. And it creates just another layer of protection on our devices, both for students and for staff. This particular product is a little more newer and updated version. It has it has more support than what we've been using. It provides more of a 24/7 wraparound support for us in customer service. We've been using, the previous product we're gonna replace has been with the district for approximately 5 years. And I know, Dave and his team has spent a lot of time taking a look at what the best option is right now for us to move to. One of the strengths that Dave has pointed to with this product is that the response time will allow us to actually try and slightly be ahead of the game and proactive to situations rather than reactive at times. I think that's it. And the customer service with anything with technology related is always a big thing, so 24/7 is really nice too. And as you probably can sense, like our teams, middle of the night, something's happening from home, they can get in and then start using our systems to do what they gotta do. All right. Any questions on that one?
Do we know how much we were paying for Carbon Black?
What we were paying for Carbon Black, I do
The one
not-
that we're replacing?
Yeah, no, I do not have that, but we can get that.
Okay.
But,
A question I always have is, was this anticipated and is it within budget that we had allocated for this?
yeah, yes.
My only comment is, one bad day is totally worth $52,000 for what is happening to people. The ransomware type stuff, which I understand this is one of those things that would fight, are usually asking for that amount at minimum. So, and the implications to the school district are vast if this isn't handled correctly, so I have great faith placed in Dave and his team and everyone else. All right, if there are no other questions, I will entertain a motion to approve purchase of CrowdStrike in the amount of $52,976. So moved by RJ, second by Danielle. I think we're doing a roll call vote on this. Yep, Cindy, please lead us in a roll call vote.
Filbert,
Yes.
Gonzalez Thomas,
Yes.
Mathis,
Yes.
Locke,
Yes.
Arlandu,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Sliger,
Yes.
Okay, thank you, motion passes. Item 7.2, approve purchase of data center storage. Tom?
All right, so this particular item, if you hear the word data, you probably can sense this is critical. This is going to be a shift to not only store but protect all of the data that is backed up. It resides in our servers, and obviously there are layers of how it is stored that are layers of security and protocols. We are shifting away from our current product because it's actually ran to the end of its life and usage. So again, Dave and team spent a lot of time taking a look as to what would be a best product for us to protect our data and store it, knowing that this is a service that needs to be replaced at this point. So at a cost of $470,995.95, they are recommending that we go with this new group. The reason being is that it will provide, again, updated amount of service and support. It has a little more updated technology to it. And we are looking at replacing something we've been using for 7 years. When we started with our current product we're moving away from, it was on a 5-year agreement. We were able to get it extended for 2 more years, so we had used it for 7 years, but now it's run to its end of its life. With this new product in group, we are looking for a 5-year agreement, or asking to approve a 5-year agreement, because they have they will not be ending any service life to anything we are going to be getting out of this package, so we are guaranteed for a minimum 5 years that they'll be able to support and update anything that we're using. And we will be replacing hardware, hence why it's a little bit more of a expensive cost when you come to this kind of data storage. And I think previously, we were hovering at approximately $390,000 with our previous product. So this is a little bit more, but as you all know, in the world of technology, with inflation and just rising costs, this was the very fair market value that David's team would recommend.
And Aaron, he's starting to learn, he's writing it right in there in the sentence now.
So is this a one-time fee for the 5 years? Is that how that works? Like, and we pay it up front?
I believe it's actually dispersed over time. I don't think we just cut the big check right up front, but part of that, yeah, it is the chunk. There's a $390,000 was in total over 7 years. And, again, as their services were declining, it's kind of hard to call it apples to apples, but with this agreement at the price that we were able to secure, this gives us a good bang for our buck with the customer service support as well, and the hardware switch outs.
Any other questions? Okay, with no other questions, I will entertain a motion to approve the purchase of HPE Electra storage arrays in the amount of $470,995.95.
So moved.
Motion by Aaron,
Second.
by Rob, second by Rob. Cindy, please lead us in a roll call vote.
Meadows,
Yes.
Locke,
Yes.
Arlandu,
Yes.
Gilbert,
Yes.
Steiger,
Yes.
Mathis,
Yes.
Gonzalez Thomas.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you very much. Send along our appreciation to David. Staff and board comments, administration comments. Tom, anything?
Yeah, so just a couple, let's start out with a few general business items. Beefy was discussed this evening. One of the other things is that Beefy is looking for anyone who's interested in becoming an active board member to support the leadership of the Beefy group. I can promise you, where's the camera eye? Anybody who's interested, it's a fun group. There are really good baked goods, homemade. And Todd, you can attest to this, right? We have a lot of laughs, a lot of good work, a lot of
Who's baking
celebrating.
the baked goods? Todd?
March.
No, Marge. Kidding me? Yeah, Marge. She's the best.
Citizen of the Year.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Oh, Citizen of the Year.
That's right. And you know it's really good because if you put it on a napkin, it's saturated. The other thing I had mentioned earlier, we do have our Batavia Intergovernmental Council this Saturday. One thing I wanted to note for the public, please support your PTOs. If you cannot serve as an officer, please just try and volunteer for any of their events. I'm trying to look at the camera because I know this is me. But anyway, because we have Amy and Todd. They're great people. great leaders putting in time for a kid's experience. We also have partnership groups like BSPN, Beefy, all these other groups that come and also are part of this conversation. What I will say is they have had awesome conversations supporting each other. It's an idea exchange that morning. New presidents of PTOs are asking veteran PTOs for ideas, how to engage, how did you run your bingo, what businesses are more friendly and more apt to donate more of the proceeds. There are some of our businesses in our community that won't take any of a cut, and they won't, they'll just cover costs on the meal and the drinks, and they give everything right back to that building, which is so commendable. And it kind of goes back to why it's a great community, the local businesses, so I say support your local businesses. And then, the restaurants know I like to. And then, the other update is strategic plan. We were able to accomplish our first major phase, or second if you think about the survey, but we had on January 8th, our Institute Day, we were able to have our Bulldog ambassadors lead the sessions at the high school. Want to thank everybody in this district for being a part of that, for being just amazing and how they handled the situation. Our students were amazing. The feedback has been overwhelmingly positive. We're so excited. And now we'll enter into the next stages and phases where we're going to engage some of our partnership groups and get more voices, you know. And then, you know, as the plan was enumerated back in September, you know, by April, we hope to have a good draft to present publicly and then bring back to that other Institute Day on April 26th. Get more feedback on what has been synthesized. Then by the May board meeting, we hope that you as a board are able to take a look at that full product. And you too have a conversation about all the pillars that are being presented to you. In the meantime, we did have our first steering committee. We'll have one at the end of this month. I'm about to prepare my final report to them on how our stages have gone so far with the survey and with round one. And then they will get that from me, and we meet next week. So I want to thank everybody who's on the steering committee as well. It's one more night and one more thing some of these people have to be a part of. And if you looked at the names, they're pretty much names you've seen on other stuff. So I just want to say thanks to everybody who's been a part of that work. And I think the last thing I just want to do is thank, as has been noted, all of our operations teams and operations personnel. Typically just for all the work they do just to keep us in school, right? Under normal conditions, but under the last 2 weeks, we've certainly undergone challenging situations beyond the norm. And I just say this, when I see them, I think of a quote that I've shared with our leadership team back this past summer. When we talk about, Simon Sinek has a saying that out of his book, Leaders Eat Last, and it talks about how we choose to do anything is how we're gonna do everything. And that team has come together, they worked as a team, they all stepped up. People were going to other places that they weren't necessarily assigned to because there was just heavy needs in different spots. And I really appreciate that. And what I am also trying to hopefully move us into a next stage is just about our general communication, transparency, and being proactive about sharing what's going on, right? So if you notice, you know, we wanted to make sure we shared that the high school issues were not due to any type of negligence or error, or, you know, we could have replaced it. Basically, really bad weather hit spots on a wing of our building. Those heating systems had been replaced and maintained over the years. And as anyone knows with metal, when you continually fix or solder or replace parts, the metal just compromises. The integrity of that structure starts to compromise, and with the freezing temperatures, you had all these bad situations come together at once. But our teams did an amazing job, so just wanted to say thanks to them.
Tom, would you mind, and not to, we've gone over this year after year, but just for new people in the district, with kindergarten parents maybe, go over the procedure of how to determine whether to close school, determine if it's an e-learning day, you know, what your procedure is, because it's, what?
So it's an early morning.
Yes, well, yeah, I know, but I know that, you
Starting
know
to get
that.
sleepy right now.
A lot of us know that. You especially know that. But if you could just maybe give some clarity to some
Sure,
people out there who may not know.
No,
That
that's
it's
a great
not
question.
just, you do not just make the call. We don't make that call.
No, no, no.
You know, it's much, much more intricate than that.
It is, you know, depending on what the weather situation or, you know, whatever's coming our way, if we can get ahead of it, typically, we as a team will internally check with each other, start gauging what we're thinking and seeing. Then I belong to a few threads of superintendents. One in particular that we regularly communicate with these kinds of conditions is the Kane County group. We talk, we meet, and then we decide, like, where the validity, not validity, what we're anticipating from the reporting we're seeing, right? So we'll jump on a National Weather Service call, which is what I did, last week, when we decided to move to e-learning at a very early time, right, the Thursday before. And we were able to do that because the National Weather Service was very clear about things and indicators that were coming. Collaboration with our county superintendents and school districts, and then in collaboration with the administration and Mark and his ops teams. And then sometimes, and we do also, I communicate with certain partnership leadership groups, such as the city of Batavia. You know, I'll keep in touch with our park district friends, making sure, because we have programming that occurs, you know, in the buildings with them. So we try and make sure we got full communication going on, including Mid-Valley Co-op. And Lisa Palazzi and I also maintain communication there. And I always try and give them the heads ups too. You know, I reached out to Todd and Marcia, you know, like for example, like today's situation, wanted to gauge what they're thinking. So just trying to get all this feedback from all these stakeholders, and then if we determine it's too early, we will agree, the superintendents, we agree that we'll meet at 4 a.m. or 4:15 a.m. the following morning. And then this is where, again, kudos to our ops teams and leaders. You know, Mark in particular has been my eyes and ears on the ground. As soon as we're calling it at 4:15, Mark's up at 3:45, we check in, and so is the team. Steve's yawning, he was up early. And we gather up, Mark hits the ground, gives me our intel with what's going on and what it looks like. He has eyes and ears with our partners as well, you know, from streets and sanitation, et cetera. And then we try to do the best thing we can in terms of making that call for our region. Now, for example, the other areas, outlets we pay attention to, Kane County Sheriff's Department, KDOT, like there are other organizations that when they chime in, you know, we're trying to take that into account as well. So, yeah, I hopefully that kind of highlights the comprehensive nature of what
So
goes
it's not
into
just
this.
you sitting at home going, yeah, I don't know. But I mean, there are people that think that, so.
Yeah, no, and
You
you know
know,
what, in fairness, I've gotten, you know, people have shared their,
Oh, yeah.
feelings about the decisions we've made the last 2 weeks on various
Well,
calls, and, I
you know.
appreciate it. It's feedback, I think it's always important. Some supported the decisions, some were not in agreement. Totally understand, completely understand that, so.
But I appreciate you just giving some insight into that, so maybe people get an idea.
Team, did I miss anything? You're all up with me.
I think you did well.
All right, I appreciate it.
We're still waiting for breakfast.
Hey, hey, hey.
He didn't bring
tough
donuts?
crew.
or
He did donuts, one day. I saw those donuts.
Yeah. So that's everything from my end. A little more long-winded tonight than normal, sorry.
Okay. All right, board comments. Since I made Sue start, RJ, do you want to start?
Sure. Thank you for that long, I mean,
he
insightful
means it.
information. It all boils down to one text that you get, which is so funny, because it's like hours and hours of thinking. But anytime that we have an opportunity to err on the side of safety for our staff, students, I'm happy that that's the way that we go with it, so. And the early notification is very appreciated. And to all of you, thank you all for doing that work. I don't have much. Thank you for being here. That's it.
Rob?
Just to reiterate, the thanks to the building maintenance, and I'm wondering, Tom, if, you know, there's something we can acknowledge or recognize them for their work over the last couple of weeks. I'd be in favor of that, support that, so. the other comment was regarding, the e-learning, when we did have that opportunity to pivot to that, that day for the students. I sent a picture to Tom of my daughter sitting at the kitchen, island, working on a math problem, I think she had up, and stuff like that. So, I know it's not easy, it's not ideal, that situation, but I, as a parent, I was appreciative that there was still learning going on in that day, and that means, you know, teachers and staff have to be prepared for that and, get the lessons out. So, I was personally pleased with, you know, the effort that went into those e-learning days, so, just a comment there. That's it.
Yeah, just appreciation to the maintenance crews for the past 2 weeks and what they've had to go to. Appreciate that, and what RJ said is, anything that has to do with safety, we gotta think of safety first, and, you know, especially with the warm, safe drive, how that's on our agenda, that's what we need to do. That needs to be first and foremost, safety. Then thanks to Ms. Neslin for presenting today and all the work that you're doing in our community. Appreciate it. Thanks, Todd.
Thanks, Todd.
Appreciate your comments.
I'll just echo everybody, Mark Anderson, his team. When I find the motivation, I like to work out pretty early in the morning, about 5 o'clock, and it takes me right by the high school. And over the past few weeks, I'll see the trucks up and running and going to work, and so those people are putting in a full day's work before most of us are even out of bed. And I think that's just, people don't appreciate like how hard they're working in difficult conditions, it's stressful. And so they are definitely appreciated. And I'd also like to thank the community members, because there's a lot of people that have property that's on a path where a lot of students walk, and the citizens that take the time and care and effort to make sure that those are safe to pass. That is definitely appreciated. And just in general, people having a little more patience, because everything slows down, is more complicated than that. So, and I want to commend Tom. I don't think you've slept much the last 2 weeks. You know, with the situation at the high school, that was sort of a 24/7 type of situation. And so, I just appreciate the team. It's, you know, the weather is, it's gonna do what it's gonna do, and there's some things you can't prevent, so I appreciate everyone doing what they can. And I wanna also say the communication has been very good. I think everyone in the community, if they, are paying attention, know what's going on, why some decisions are being made. Now, you can have a different opinion on occasion on decisions, but at least we're giving our rationale why we're doing it, so I think that's appreciated. And I do want to tee something up at the high school. I just have been attending this week the National Air Conditioning, Heating, and Refrigeration Conference in Chicago at McCormick Place. It's the largest in the country. And I just want to say, I want to tee up the board and the community that our systems at the high school are very old. You can only repair for so long, and that we're going to have some discussions about that very, very soon. So be prepared for that. And I guess I'll just say, I hope Todd's right and Winter's done with us, but usually doesn't work that way in Illinois, so just, again, just be careful. My daughter, 17, came home one day and spun her out on the main street, so just, everyone just be careful, take care of each other. We'll get through it, so thank you.
That's great. Yeah, add-on appreciation for our buildings and grounds, our admin, Tom, staff, everybody. It's been rough, but like to communicate like about the communication, that is one thing that I definitely have taken away is appreciation for letting people know as soon as possible, being really transparent. Like you said, we can kind of all have our own opinions and needs and, you know, frustrations one way or another. We can't make everyone happy, but one thing is for sure, it's very clear, it's, you know, very timely, and that's really appreciative. I mean, it has to be hard. We have people who have various needs, but I think that no matter what we're doing, that safety piece and keeping everyone warm, safe, dry is priority. And to talk about, like Rob talked about, I have a first grader and a sixth grader, and I did BVA the 1 year, the complete year, with both kids. And so it was kind of like a little flashback, but I was really, really pleased with everything. I mean, it was really smooth, and I think one of the biggest takeaways and conversations I had with people when they were a little frustrated, like maybe my kid really can't do remote, this and that, everybody was really, really accommodating. hey, if you have questions, I'm gonna be here, I'll be here for you, reach out to me. And even the emails to the parents were very like, hey, you know, if they can't do this, that's fine, like, we're gonna meet up when we're back in school. And I think that's really huge, understanding that it's not for everybody. When we have to pivot, though, we're doing the best that we can. And I don't think we can really improve on it very much, at least not that I can know of, but like, it really was wonderful to kind of watch them and see how they interacted with that. It was really seamless. So just really appreciative to everybody for that. I don't think I have anything else to add in today. That's it.
All right, Sue, try to top all that.
Well, Aaron kind of hit on the last point I wanted to say, and since I think I am sitting in his old seat, I'm gonna channel the, John Gaspar, the ghost of John Gaspar in the past. Because he would always.
He's not dead, though.
You've piqued my interest, you've piqued my interest.
Alive.
No, but he would always talk about.
Just to clarify.
Sidewalks clear in the wintertime. So I would urge people to do that, and especially if they have bus stops nearby, because kids need to stand out there. And so make sure, because we are a much walkable school district, so make sure that kids can walk to school. If you can't shovel, I know you mentioned the Batavia United Way. I know they have help available for snow angels, yes. So there is help out there. I'm sure your local churches have things like that too, so, you know, ask your neighbor to shovel. So, Steve, you'll
Did you have
shovel.
something, Holly?
Just as a matter of record, can we have a motion to pass the consent agenda?
Oh, did I not do that?
And Cindy needs that on record, please.
Okay, I apologize, I thought I said that. I spaced. Can I get a motion to accept the consent agenda as written?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Sue, second by Aaron. All in favor? Roll call, right? Roll call vote.
Gonzalez Thomas,
Yes. Craig.
Hilbert,
Yes.
Mathis,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Slager,
Yes.
Locke,
Yes.
Arlandu,
Yes.
Holly and Cindy, thank you for backstopping me and all of us. Appreciate that. The only thing I was going to add is, I got a ridiculously small taste of all of the effort that you put in on trying to decide about how all our teachers and students and everybody else gets safe. When we were texting on trying to even decide to have this meeting today, and I toiled and got fraught and talked to 6 people and couldn't handle it. So.
I'm sorry, Craig.
Yeah, I know. It was just so to everybody that puts all the effort in to make sure that everybody does, you know, what they need to do and goes above and beyond what they have to do, I appreciate it. And Ms. Nelson, thank you for coming, and for you and all that work with you of being a great conduit for all of those that do great things in our community. You're well deserved, and thank you for all of that. And to that end, we are going to be going to a closed session today. So I'm going to officially go to the adjourned to closed session part. I will entertain a motion to move to a closed session as allowed under the Open Meetings Act for the purposes of exceptions 5 ILCS 120/2C2 and exception 5 ILCS 120/2C1.
So moved.
So moved by Sue, second by RJ. Is that RJ? Thanks for the point, Rob. And then,
I want to give him credit.
yeah, I appreciate that. All right, Cindy, roll call vote, please.
Slager,
Yes.
Arlandu,
Yes.
Gonzalez Thomas,
Yes.
Hilbert,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Mathis,
Yes.
Locke.
Yes.
I do not believe we have anything for action after this meeting today, right? So we will stop back in.
This is
You're
it.
welcome to hang out if you like. Talk amongst yourselves.